All right, guys, welcome back to the Medium Cool Show. Today, we're going to be talking about the 2016 Palme d'Or winner, the film I, Daniel Blake, directed by Ken Loach.
Mm-hmm.
I've never actually seen a Ken Loach movie before this, but I've heard of him before because he's very much about the sort of social realism depicting the lower class in the UK. I've heard of this movie called Kess from like 1969. That was like his really big breakout movie about a kid and his eagle. I had never seen a movie about him before, but today we watched I, Daniel Blake. What do you think of it?
What did I think of? I didn't like.
Yeah.
You know, when someone says this movie won Cannes, or I find out like it won like the Palme d'Or or something like that, I don't really know. Like I always go into it thinking that it's gonna be like some amazing movie or like it's really pretentious. You know what I mean? Like it was like maybe it was like a really pretentious pick or something like that. Like I feel like there's this commentary. I mean, we've been talking about it a lot where Cannes can kind of be a little pretentious in the movies they pick because they kind of wanted to depict more working class, more boots on the ground, salt of the earth kind of stories, or like stories that are like a commentary on wealth or class or higher class, right? When they themselves are like literally that partaking in like that higher class stuff. So I'm always like it's like they're swinging in the exact opposite direction, you know? And I'm like, okay, I'm a little skeptical because I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder at Cannes, like for what they have to prove and what they like award the Palme d'Or to. And this is definitely along the lines of that, where I feel like they had a little chip on their shoulder and they're like, look at this movie, this gem in the rough, you know?
Yeah. But it's a good movie, though.
It's a good
I really
movie.
liked it.
Yeah, I want to say, like,
I really
you
liked
know,
it. It was really good.
It was, wait, here, I just want to preference it that way, right?
I'm not arguing with you.
It was good. It was really, really good. I went in with those expectations of like, all right, what the fucking movie is this, you know? But then as it plays out, it really like reveals itself to be like a very like heartfelt, well-made, well-directed story.
Yeah, the approach of it is, I love the approach because it's very objective with it's very like it's social realism, right? So we're going through the life of this guy. He's like 59-year-old guy who has a heart attack. His doctors are like, hey, you can't work. Like you're not fit to work. If you're gonna work, like you're putting yourself in danger.
You're gonna die.
Yeah. So basically he has to go and apply for
unemployment, essentially.
Yeah.
Their version of unemployment.
Yeah, unemployment, and he has to prove to this bureaucratic whatever alliance bullshit that he can't work, but they're not able. His doctor didn't tell, like they didn't get into contact with the doctor to tell them that
there's just too many degrees of separation in this like bureaucratic system.
Yeah,
where they're like, it's literally a one giant circle for this guy, and this is not a guy that like Daniel is not a guy that's gonna like give up.
Yeah.
He's a very, like, honorable, boots on the ground kind of guy that will get shit done. He'll do it himself, you know? He fixes things up. He's a carpenter. What he doesn't understand is that, like, there's a lot of it that's out of his control, which is the commentary of this movie that's really fucked up, is like, yes, well, he needs to get unemployment because his doctor says if he keeps working, then he'll die, but he needs to pay his bills still, you know? And so he goes to get unemployment, but unemployment's like, we can't give you this money and approve you of this unless you're actively applying for jobs, unless you have an updated CV, unless you're doing this and jump through this hoop, you know? And they're all online too is another thing. And this is not a guy that has a computer. This is not a guy that has anything to do with
He was a carpenter.
So he has to go to the public library, learn how to use a computer, never used one before, doesn't know how to move the mouse even.
Yeah, and he still hasn't gotten any money.
Yeah. And
he's like running out of money and his like...
Yeah.
They're in Newcastle in the UK.
And well, all this is going on, and while he's having all this hardship too, he meets another person who's this single mother too, who is also struggling, who also needs unemployment, who just moved there. And he goes out of his way to help her. The depiction of like his character. You know, it's just someone who's like, what does he say in the movie? He says he says it to the one of the women that works at the like bureaucratic place, like the unemployment. He's like, when you give up on your when you lose your morals, you lost yourself or something like that. And then he like spray paints.
Yeah, that's like his breaking point.
Yeah.
When he doesn't get the appeal for his thing. But the thing is, it's like so fucked up because it's not his fault that he's not computer literate because he's just from like a lower class working background. It's almost like his type is not necessarily extinct, but he's not able to, he doesn't know how to find like a job. But the thing is, he shouldn't be looking for a job because he's fucking gonna die.
Yeah.
You know, so he needs to get the money. He needs to be supported by the government. Like he actually needs to be supported, and it's not like they're like, oh, you need to prove that you can like look for a job. But he's like, dude, I don't want to look for a job. I'm hurting. And he's like, well, like the only way we can give you money is that you prove that you're looking for a job and you can get unemployment. And he's like, okay, well, that's my only option because the doctor's office isn't, I can't reach the doctor's office, so I have to apply for unemployment. But the fact with unemployment is that you have to like prove that you're looking for work. But like the fact that he is looking for work, but the whole thing that made him like get the heart attack in the first place was the work.
Yeah.
So he just needs to get money because he's about to be like, he's fucking like living in this apartment and he has to start selling his stuff in his apartment.
It's his stuff that him and his widow, his dead wife like built together, you know, like stuff that they like the life they built together. It's like really sad, you know, like and like during all this he still is like kind and caring and like pretty upbeat. He doesn't ask for handouts from anyone, you know?
And he doesn't steal. He doesn't beg. Yeah. He's just like a guy that's just like trying to get by. And then in his story, when we follow him, we meet other characters like his neighbor. He's like this black guy who's like getting shoes cheap from China and then reselling them for a cheaper price down the street from the store. And he has like his little like, you know, he has like his little like side gigs, his little hustles and stuff. And he's complaining to him. He's like, bro, like I got paid £4 for like to show up at like 8 a.m. thinking I'm gonna have like a 5-hour day. And we only work for 1 hour. I get paid like £5. Like it's bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's depicting these sort of like the lower class and their struggles. And then he meets that woman who just moved from a homeless shelter from London to get like a lower income housing in Newcastle. Yeah,
she like has this crazy thing at the beginning when they first meet where it's like she's maybe a couple minutes late to her unemployment meeting with her 2 little kids in tow. They're like, no, you missed it. You can't get it. No, man, you have to leave. You're causing a scene. No, they're such fucking assholes, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, we've all of us have been in some kind of bureaucratic pretzel before. Like, we all know that struggle. And that's why this movie is like so based in a way.
Yeah, it hits, dude. And it's not like we said before, like we mentioned before, with like melodrama. They're not pushing this narrative on you and like they're not like preaching to you like, oh, look how fucking sad this is with like music or like technique or whatever. It's literally just like very objective camera showing you what these people are going through. And like, there's like crying in it and stuff, but it's like, it makes sense. You know what I mean? They're not trying to like preach to you about it. And it's very much like harkens back to the Italian Neorealist type pictures. Like it really reminded me of Victoria De Sica's Bicycle Thieves, about this guy who only can have a job if he has a bicycle, and when he gets a bicycle, that bicycle is stolen, so he can't do the job that he has to do to support him and his family, support him and his son. So in the end, he's forced to steal a bike in order to do it. So it's just like this like vicious cycle, you know what I mean? And it's like how far will you go? Like what, there's some people who have no options, so what will they do? They'll steal, or they'll beg or whatever. And we see that in the movie with the woman, because she's like has no money. She has to take care of these 2 kids, so she ends up stealing from the shop. They let her go. Thankfully they let her go, but then she's secretly offered to become a prostitute in a brothel to pay for her kids and stuff, to support her kids, which she goes through with. That's a whole other thing. But the whole ending, I really like the ending because by the end of the movie, like he's about to get his redemption. He's about to get his appeal, but it's too late and he dies of a heart attack.
Yeah. It's too late. Like they just like fucked him around too much, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, definitely like the
At the end of his
system kind of helped him die.
Yeah.
It killed him.
Yeah, the fucked up bureaucratic system where the people that you're trying to get like answers from don't even know how the shit works. You know, there's like too many people, the system's all like fucked up and shit, and yeah, it ends up that he gets fucked over in the end.
Yeah. Can I just say, like,
yes,
when I first started watching this movie, when I first started watching this movie, I said I had the expectations about the Palme d'Or going into it, but then also I was like, okay, is this a little bit like a fucking boomer preachy movie? You know, is this like kids nowadays? Because he's a little bit like that. He's like a bit curmudgeon-y, you know? And he's like, computer illiterate.
He doesn't know how to use a computer,
like, he's like, these fucking things, you know? I'm like, oh, guys, this is going to be like a little, like, kind of like preachy movie. Actually, the thing that like changed my mind was like halfway through the film when they were going to the food handout thing in the line, you know? And they're getting food, and apparently, if you look at the trivia for this movie, like that was actually like a real like shelter where they were like handing out food and stuff, and those are all real people. Daniel's there with the woman, the single mother, and she's getting food, and she opens this can of like tomato sauce and just starts eating it.
Yeah,
with her hands.
She has a breakdown.
Yeah, and she just has a breakdown, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, there's something that just like I was like, okay, this isn't pretentious, you know, this isn't preachy, this is like real stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is like real struggles that people go through, and like.
And it made you think about like your sister and your dad a little bit.
My sister and my dad.
Yeah, like your sister is like a single mom, like taking care of these two kids, you know, like, and your dad, you know, he's like kind of the same age as this guy, like having his own like.
Yeah, they're fine though. They're better. They're way better off than these people. Yeah,
they're definitely way better off. But yeah, like going back to the whole con thing, the thing about this movie is that the people that it depicts in the film, those people in real life aren't going out and seeing this movie. You know what I mean? This movie is for like the highbrow film festival circuit guys who go there and they're like, yes, poor people. They're like, yes, help the poor. Like,
yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah, they have that in this movie. Whereas, like, the people that actually depicts that they should watch it, like, people who should watch it, like, they're not going to see this movie. They're going to go to see, like, the more mainstream shit, which is fine because they don't have the access to know about these movies. Like, the working class, they don't go and see movies like this, even though, like, it depicts, like, their actual lives. But they're going to go see, like, Bumblebee or, like, Blue Beetle or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It's almost like this movie's like made for people in their ivory tower looking down like, yes, like, the poors, yes, like, congrats.
I know.
You know, even though, Ken Loach is like a very sincere filmmaker, though, I would say.
Yeah, he very much is. Yeah, it makes me really want to see more of his stuff now.
Yeah, contemporary social realism. Yeah, but I can see how this is like the Palme d'Or winner, but it deserved it, dude. This is a good.
It is a good movie.
It has a really good message in it and everything. It's not overly preachy at all. It's very, very objective European, like, contemporary cinema. Mm-hmm. And I recommend this movie to anyone, pretty much. Yeah, it's a really interesting sort of like it's sad, but it's sad. It's just like it's very objective, you know, and you can see you live through the world of this guy and like this worker in the UK going through what a lot of people go through with trying to get like healthcare, and it's a very like timely contemporary thing which I love to see in cinema today, talking about the times now, you know?
yeah, well said, very well said.
Yeah. Do you have any closing remarks you want to make before we close out the discussion?
No, I think you said everything. Just definitely check out this movie.
Great performances. Great performances.
Yeah, great. Oh my God. Amazing performances.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also a little bit funny too. There's some humor in it.
Okay, that's enough.